You know, Brother Dan was all about health, so this is going to be good for us. So you're a school therapist? Yes, I am. Okay, how long have you been doing that?
About 24 years.
24 years? You don't even look old enough.
Yeah, about 52, you know. Yeah, 52, 52, yeah. So I've just passed 50 not out. Yeah. For those who don't know, I'm using a cricket reference, so 50 not out, 52.
So if you have like aches and pains, like do you suggest that we go and see a sports therapist or massage therapist?
That's a good question. In sports therapy, you cover all the different aspects of physical interventions when it comes to any ailments, anything that's musculoskeletal related. Massage is one of the tools in the toolbox. So some people might talk about massage, acupuncture, cupping, exercising, stretching, yoga, tai chi, and sports massage is one of the tools. It's my favorite tool. It's not the only one, but it's my favorite.
Thank you for that. Are we ready now? Okay. Hi, greetings everybody. First of all, thank you so much for the earlier activities. It was, I know for a fact, Brother Dougie would be very pleased with the turnout and the support. Anyway, my name is Sonia Kamara, and I'm here with Ricardo Johnson, and we're going to do a very short, we're under strict instructions to do a short presentation, which we're going to, and we're talking about empowering health, navigating cancer together. So, Andrew, could you do the next slide? Yeah, who we are. So, Sewing Together, click it again. Yeah. Sewing Together is a grassroots organisation supporting global minority community, especially of African heritage. We offer a safe, inclusive space for arts, crafts and culture and engagement. Our aim is to enhance physical, mental wellness through creativity and connection. Next one. Right, so arts and crafts, this is what we do, just very quickly. We do workshops for self-expression, we celebrate heritage, we do a lot of testing for early detection for all sorts of conditions. We work holistically, and we do believe in peer support, that's people supporting people, and that's our people supporting our people. We do skill sharing because we realise all of us have got a lot of knowledge, and it's really great that we share that. And we do a lot of sustainability gardening, because doing things outdoors in the earth we find really help people. And every year we have the Black Communities Healthy Living and Lifestyle Fair, where we have over 300 participants and we cover all different health topics. Andrew? You're going to do both. You're doing both, that's okay. We're going to be quick. Okay, you can go to the next one, it's all right, we don't really, I think I've covered the programs. Okay, now this is quite important, our previous projects. So in 2019 we did a project, it was called Get Screened, Protect Yourself, and we gained over 193 women, and it was about cervical screening. What we found is a lot of women, for all sorts of reasons, don't usually some don't go and get a smear. When we did that project, we developed a buddying scheme, and we found 3 women who had stage 2 cervical cancer, who got treatment and are okay. So we know that the holistic view is important, but sometimes when we're not well, we do have to do things like blood tests and things like that. So we have to kind of engage with the system, but it has to be on our terms, and we are very conscious of how we do things culturally. The next project we did was we did a breast screening, and this was really important because when we actually started this program, they didn't have resources that looked like us. So when we actually got the contract, we were told, well, just use the words, the imagery doesn't matter. And we had to fight very hard to develop our own posters that represented women, for this one, black women. Ricardo?
Okay, I'll come over to this side of the stage.
Yeah, so prostate cancer awareness, prostate cancer is something that is really a massive issue in our community. I mean, I can talk about so many things in relation to prostate cancer, but I could start off just by saying my dad was diagnosed with prostate cancer, so was my uncle. I had a cousin that died from prostate cancer. I had another uncle that died as well. I got another one that's just getting tested. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 men in my family that prostate cancer has affected that I know of. So even if you just look at it from that perspective, they say it's like 1 in 12 men, European men, with diagnosed with prostate cancer. They say 1 in 8 Asian, and the number in the African, Caribbean specifically. You look at stats in the African continent, but if you look at the Caribbean community, they say it's 1 in 4. So we've got 1 in 12, 1 in 8, 1 in 4. And I've already named 5 men in my immediate family that prostate cancer is affected. So I could sit down here and I could give you a long list and show you my CV and what I've done and things like that and who I've worked for the last 24 years. But I've got my dad, I've got my uncle, I've got a cousin, I've got another elder that's passed away, and I've got another relative, that's 5 people. That's something that's close to me. So the statistics only can tell one part of the story, but it doesn't tell everything. It's to do with me, you know?
We want to be involved in how the health services are designed, and it's really important that you get involved. We know how difficult it is. We know how difficult it is, and we know the challenges, we know the obstacles, and we know everyone keeps talking about inequalities. But my personal view, that is by design, okay? We have to get involved in how we design the services, because if we don't get involved in how they're designed, we won't get involved in how they're developed, and we will not get involved in how they're delivered. That means lots of people in our communities will fail to get early screening, and they will just miss out on all sorts of things that there usually is a cure, some sort of cure for. You know, we can self-heal, we all know that, but sometimes we just need a little bit of support. And it's all about the timing when you get screened.
Can I just say as well that in terms and screening and medication and things like that and protocols, one of the things that I really want to advocate for is that we have sometimes we have a binary message, and some people says, yeah man, take this herb man, everything alright man, just take that herb and everything man. Some people says, okay, you got to go to the hospital and get screened and get assessed and get your MRI scan or take your PSA test or your anal rectal test or whatever. And I think if we segregate things in that way, we're creating the problem. I think the first thing you have to kind of dismiss that one thing is going to fix the whole thing. So collectively, we have to have a holistic approach rather than a segregated individual approach. You know, you've got the medical man over there, the herbalist man over there, and then somebody else is over there. That's not working. That's got to stop. We did have a short video which was very important to play because it had the late Earl Hines in it, who was one of our advocates, but I've just been told we've run out of time. So we are running a programme, and the programme is going to be for a year, and we're having an open day on the 20th of August, and it's all about supporting individuals and their families who are living with or without cancer, to be honest. It's all about health and wellness. There's going to be physical exercise, we're going to have a clinical approach,
holistic approach as well. We want as many people as possible to come along and attend. Okay then, thank you. Okay, so we have Buzzy B. Where is Buzzy B? He's going to mention a few words. Hi, Buzzy.
Yes, good evening. My name is James, but I'm popularly known as Buzzy because I'm always buzzing, or always doing something, always busy. Yeah, I'm the chair of the COG, the Community Legacy Group, which was formed 3 years ago to organize this event in the name of the champion and the good brother, as Dougie calls himself. It's been a labor of love because Dougie was very obviously dedicated to the work that he's done in the community, both in Tottenham and London and everywhere that he went. So, and also as a friend and also a radio colleague, because we were on SLR together. And whether we use that program of Find Your Voice to help people to find their voice as an advocate, as a campaign, to console people and the level of caliber of people that he brought when imparting the knowledge to the community was vast. And I think that his work is immeasurable. I don't think that enough there's enough space, I think, to measure his work. I'll take long enough to measure the impact of his legacy. And that's why we're here commemorating his legacy. And I just want to thank the team, the CLG team, Andrew there, Sister Bridget, Jammers, Ras McCoy, all in the individual roles who have put together to organize this event, and all the supporters, HBA, SLR. There's so many that I can mention, but I just want to also thank you, the audience, for showing up every year to make this event what it is, because without you, it would be no event. So again, I just want to thank you again. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for that, Buzzy. And not all of us know about this. I'm new, I'm learning. And I just think it's amazing how everyone's come together today in honor of Doug. And I just thank you, and thank you for coming. And it's wonderful because everyone has so much love and so much care for each other. It's really beautiful. Hello, Supreme. Thank you for joining us. Wait! Would you like to come up, Maria? It's your turn. Okay, so we have Health Workshop 1. We have Paulette, the lovely Paulette Robinson. I saw her somewhere. Where are you? There you go. Hi.
Greetings everyone. Before I start, I just want to acknowledge everyone, and it's so important to give thanks and praise, and just thank you for everyone that's come out to acknowledge the wonderful Brother Dougie. May he rest in power and rise in glory. I just want to say I met Brother Dougie maybe about 15 years ago when I moved to Tottenham, and I met him in Tottenham Leisure Centre in the sauna, and we became friends, and I started to attend a lot of his events, and I started listening to his show called Find Your Voice. Did anyone listen to Find Your Voice? Well, I remember, Brother Dougie used to do this radio show, and it went on into the early hours of the night, and one of the things that he did was to help people with their health, whether that's physical health or mental or emotional health. And what I found was people would call in and talk about their situation, and I remember thinking to myself, I wonder if someone's situation would help someone else's, just from this radio show that Brother Dougie was empowering, our community with his talk show. So I'm really pleased that I became a qualified psychotherapist. And I remember Brother Dougie always encouraging me because, believe it or not, when I was 26, I won't tell you how old I am now, I was actually sectioned across the road in St Anne's Hospital. And my dad passed away, my body shut down, and there's a story behind that, and I got sectioned about 3 times. However, almost 20 odd years later, I'm now a psychotherapist. I actually did my training at the same hospital that I got sectioned. So, for some of you in the room, you just don't know the future. Our pain can be our success. Anyway, I know I've got a short time. So my name is Paulette Robinson. My art therapy company is called Kinder. I remember going to Jamaica 2 years ago, and I went to, has anyone been to Maroon Town in St Elizabeth, Maroon Town? There's a beautiful place called Maroon Town in St Elizabeth, and I've always wanted an African name. And one of the sacred lands is called Kinder, and it means community. So I'm here, I'm all about my community. So let me just go to the next slide. I don't know. Okay. So just a little bit about art therapy. So art therapy, what is it? It's counselling basically, but you can use art as a way to express yourself, because when we were young, when we were maybe 2 or 3, we actually started drawing before we started writing. What does this tell us about the human soul, the way that it expresses itself? So art therapy has so many benefits, it's a way to express your emotions, develop your self-awareness, it improves your cognitive and your neurological functions, it helps you to build your emotional resilience, manage behaviour, and it can help to solve problems. So how does art therapy work? Well, we're going to do a little task actually. I really thank my young kids who handed out a bit of paper and a pen. I'm just going to ask you all just to draw a tree for me. A tree. That's all I'm going to say. If you can just draw a tree, and I'm going to let you just draw it for a couple of minutes. I'm sure you've seen many trees in your life since you have come into existence. So just spend a couple of minutes drawing a tree. That's it. That's all I've asked you to draw a tree. You should all have a pen and a piece of paper. I'm sure for some of you, I wonder when was the last time you actually stopped you were drawing. Perhaps some of you haven't drawn in a while. I'm sure some of you are like, when you started drawing your picture right now, can I draw? Of course you can. It's something that comes naturally to us. I can see a lot of smiles while some individuals are drawing. My sister is really enjoying herself there. It's a tree.
How about trees?
So why have I asked you to draw a tree? Because in art therapy, what we draw can be seen as a metaphor of ourselves. So even though you've drawn a tree, unconsciously you could have drawn yourself as a tree. So we're going to look at our trees. The first thing I would ask you if you were sitting in a session with me is, can you describe your tree to me? Because if you think about trees, they go through seasons, right? There's 4 seasons, there's spring, summer, autumn and winter. So have a look at your tree. What season, this is a rhetorical question, right? What season would you put your tree in? What season, my sister?
Summer, I think, for mine.
Summer. Actually, can you come up with your tree? Do you mind if I use you as a client? All right, so come here. So you said summer.
Sunrise, Mary. It's an apple tree, so I guess it would be going into autumn as well.
Okay, so you said it's summer, it's an apple tree, there's a sun. Okay, so when you look at fruits, what do you associate fruits with? Because you've got a really fruitful tree.
Life, abundance, health, depending how it's produced, of course.
And could you associate anything in your life right now to do with life, abundance, fruitfulness?
I think I'm probably at that stage of life where I'm feeling good about things. Yeah, I'm feeling I've got a lot of abundance in my life. I'm not talking necessarily wealth, I'm talking finances. Just the people around me, health, just everything like that, just feeling in a good place.
Thank you, I can see that. Thank you. So that was just a typical example, you know, my sister was saying that she's actually at a place in her life of abundance. And notice I didn't interpret her tree, she interpreted it for me. The thing about counselling or therapy is as counsellors, we're not here to tell you, it's more about you telling me. So have a look at your trees. Some of you may have drawn trees with leaves on it. Some of you may have drawn trees with roots. Some of you may have drawn trees with a white trunk of grounding. You know, you can actually see yourself in that tree and you might say to yourself, what season am I in right now? Would anyone else like to come and talk about their tree? Have you got you? Okay, sweetheart. Can I hold it?
I draw a tree because I think that we are the tree of life. So I draw a face.
Sorry, sis, can you speak in the first person? Say I.
You, me, I. I draw a tree with a face on it because I think that we are the tree of life. I and I, the tree of life. So that's why I draw that. Yeah.
She's drawn a tree with a face on the. What do you think that represents?
It represents life. It represents the beginning. It represents me. Smile. Happy.
So I've noticed that you've drawn your tree and there doesn't seem to be any leaves or anything on there. What do you think that represents?
Well, the leaves, there is it, the green leaves, the leaf, the little green, the pig run out. Yeah, I was trying to get more on it, but you see it kind of flat at the moment.
Okay, what season would you put your tree?
In summer, yeah.
What do you associate summer with?
Life, sun, melanin, enrichment, just, I don't know, well-being.
I love the way you're describing yourself there, you know, you just see the life and the well-being emanating. Give thanks. Thank you. I don't have a lot of time because I've got told that I've only got 30 minutes. I think I've done 10 minutes already. One of the things that I got part of my training was to look at what we call the inner child. And this was a painting that I had to do when I was doing my training. And here is my inner child, and then I've got the adult, and I've got enlightenment. However, when I was going to be a psychotherapist, I myself had to go through therapy. And one thing that my therapist went with me was to unravel what was going on in my childhood. Because some of us, sadly, when we present things in our relationship and in our family as adults, what we don't realise is it's got to do with what happened when we were a child. And what I wanted to do today was to talk a bit more about the inner child and how it can affect our adulthood. But one thing I would like to say is that if we could just sit for a minute and think about childhood. And the second thing I would like you to think about is your relationships. Whether that's your relationships with your parents, your relationship with your partners, your husband, wife, your relationship with your children, your work colleagues. If I was to ask you all a question, what are your relationships like right now? I heard my brother when he was talking about libation and the importance of our ancestors and the importance of the reliance on the presence of a higher being. But sometimes we also need to look at ourselves and what's going on within us and why we act a certain way. Because sometimes it's easy to spiritualize situations, but actually we need to take accountability as well. So I wonder if I could ask a rhetorical question. What's your inner child like right now? How do you deal with your inner child? Does it present itself? How does it present itself? Does it present itself as anger? Does it present itself as frustration? You come home and your wife just say, your food not cooked yet. Do you go into an explosion? Because that explosion could be the fact that you didn't get fed when you were a child on time and you didn't know how to handle it, and now you're actually acting the same way as an adult. So it's really important that we come to a place where we can try and recognize our emotions and how we react to situations. So, how do we respond to our inner child, particularly when we're in uncomfortable situations, particularly in relationships? One of the things that we could do is to reflect on why we're acting the way that we're acting, particularly if you're in a relationship pattern where you feel like you've gone from one relationship to another, and actually, why is this happening to me? I know in our community there's a lot of singleness, there's a lot of separation. Sometimes if we just stopped and looked at why is there so many separation in our community? What has that got to do with the way I'm acting? Here's a few things that you could do in terms of recognizing what's going on within you. Journal. I actually write a diary every night when I'm going to bed. I like to reflect on my day. Even if I've had an argument with someone, I like to write down what happened. Was it something I did? I like to make sure that I live a life of accountability. That's really important. Meditation, praying. It's so important that we acknowledge that we're not just here in existence. There's a greater being around us. I've always loved art. I'm actually an art teacher. I've been teaching art in secondary schools for 22 years. Art is a wonderful way to tap into your inner child. Nurturing your child. Sometimes in society, this system we live in, they want us to grow up so quickly. But you know what? There's nothing wrong with being a child again. There's nothing wrong with you guys going to the park or going swimming or singing or, I don't know, just being a child again. There's nothing wrong with that. If I told 5 of you to get up and come to the front and start jumping and spinning, you need to do that. You need to just let yourself free. Forgive and let go. I was talking to a client yesterday about the fact that she had come to the UK when she was 10 from Jamaica and her older brother was 15. They both how to love them because they grew up with their grandparents. even I have that in my family, older brothers and sisters who didn't grow up with me. How do you deal with that if you've got a brother or sister or you yourself have gone through that? Some of us have internalized so much and we haven't really spoken about it. And more importantly, we haven't forgiven or let go. Sadly, some of your parents have transitioned and you haven't really had a chance to go and speak to them and say to them, you know, how you felt coming to this country. There's so many examples that I can give of how in our community that we're not really talking about things that really hurt us inside, and that's hurt. Seeking professional help. Yes, I'm a trained therapist, but you know, as a trained therapist, a person that you can talk to. Everybody has someone in this room that you can talk to. And I love Brother Dudley, because you know what he said? He said, find your voice. So I'm going to end on that note. If you can't find a therapist, find someone so you can find your voice and set yourself free and enjoy your life. Give thanks. That was amazing. I could listen to you all day. That was so brilliant. I just think, wow, I don't think I've lived my childhood. I'm always mucking about. But yeah, it's so amazing and I'm amazed by that. I'm just taken back. Okay, right. Okay, so next we have a tribute and that's by DJ Supreme. Can we give a hand for DJ Supreme?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good to see you.
Evening, afternoon, everybody. How you doing? You doing good? You know, as you know, close friend of Brother Dougie. But one of the things I remember about Brother Dougie, his sayings on his show, and one of the sayings was, you got to be prepared to do the things today that others are not prepared to do. Did you hear me?
Yeah.
What did I say? Oh no, that's tired. Come on. I'm one person. You've got to be prepared to do the things today that others are not prepared to do. And he had many mantras on his radio show like that because he was into a thing which I found out through the journey with him, and it was called personal development. And my journey, I'm going to go back, because I know Dougie in the community because he used to play football. And we used to play football in a place called Northumberland Park. For those of you in Tottenham might know the posh school. We used to go there, play five-a-side, and he was a couple of years older than us, but he was a very good footballer back in the day. So we nicknamed him Dougie Fresh because there's so many Dougies in Tottenham, so we called him Dougie Fresh. So everybody knew him as Dougie Fresh, but he was an avid footballer, and he played for a football team I remember was called Uhuru. And as you know, Uhuru means, over New River Park Sports Centre. Yeah. So in the community, he was known for being, a conscious brother, walking, and trotting a certain way. And even when he walked down West Green Road, when he was doing his promotions, he would stop and spend time with people to say, here, I've got an event coming. Here it is. Here's a ticket. If you never had the money, he said, pay me later. In fact, take two, bring a friend. Now I used to say to Dougie, wow, Dougie, how are we going to finance these events? But he wasn't worried about that. He wasn't worried about the cost and stuff, because we done it at, many of you might have been there, Parkview Academy. Put your hands up if you went Parkview Academy.
Yeah.
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 And as the sister said before, Paulette, he said his event was called Find Your Voice. And Find Your Voice, exactly what he said it was going to be. Finding your voice. So even if he spoke to you for 5, 3, 4 minutes and he found out what your speciality is, you would either be on his program or be on that platform. And many people that I've seen here in this room have turned into excellent speakers and spreading the word. So we see the works of Find Your Voice, you know, it's working. We see it in the community. Yeah? The only thing that I've got to say, we need more young people, like this man here, with the shirt there. No, oh, not you. No, there's just more young people in that circle, because it's a positive message that we're sending, or he's sending. Now, one of the main topics that he used to talk about was relationships. I don't know if Galactic has he spoken yet? No, he hasn't. So, one of the most popular events that he done was around relationships. And there was, it was so popular at Parkview Academy, we had to pull out even more chairs at the front of the auditorium, actually touching the stage because so much people came there. The topic of that one, very interesting, was called the magic of sex. I never knew you lot were so into sex until that day. But I'm telling you, it was interesting to have that conversation. And right now, I'm going to ask anybody, if you go on YouTube, Brother Doug has got a thing on Find Your Voices YouTube, and it's relationships from the black man's perspective. Is your sister here? Because she actually ran in on that show. And Janice is not here, but that was one of the most interesting conversations to talk about relationships. 4 to 5 black men. Some of it, you know, some people made themselves vulnerable. Some of it could have been embarrassing, but we got to talk on that platform and air our views. I'm sad that, well, I'm not sad. Jammers was here. I don't know where he is. I would have asked him just to play 2 minutes of that particular one where us as black men came together on his show and spoke about relationships. And I know some of us are in, we're not no romantic, we're not no love. But when we was in that program, we said, well, what's our definition of love? And how do we get together with the black woman? What do we say to her? Dougie came back and said, you've got to answer 100 questions. Black women answer 100 questions to the black man before you start getting to bed with him. That's what Dougie said. Yeah? What was one of the questions? What's one of the questions you would ask a black man before you get into a relationship with him? Is he single? Has he got any children? If he's single, okay, we're getting there. Yeah, and there's a gentleman who's just come in the room, and he actually spoke on relationships. I'm glad you're here, but yeah. And these things even got me thinking, how am I going to ask my 100 questions? When the young lady comes to me today, you can ask me the question you want, ladies, but, you know, just make it 20. Yeah, but it's interesting. We're going into relationships because I come from a generation, right, where we used to just go to nightclubs with the light off. And the light is off. And we're trying to start a romance in a nightclub. In the darkness, yes. And we're whispering sweet nothings here. What do you do? But that's how relationship was back, let's say, 80s, 90s. that's how sometimes you might say some of our relationships failed because we were just in a dance and we were just saying things to make you feel good on the night. You know what I mean? So now, and Brother Dougie had some seminars around relationships, and I'm going a bit over the place, but also he done one called abusive relationships. What is an abusive relationship? Concurrently at the time, I don't know if anyone's into music, there was a situation with a sister named Rihanna, a singer. You know Rihanna? Rihanna had an incident with a singer called Chris Brown. And we decided, to talk about it. But we also started to look at, from a musical point, the relationship with, I forgot her name. I think her name is Tina Turner and Ike Turner. Why did Tina keep going back to that abusive relationship? What's love got to do with it? So, all right. Thank you very much for telling me. Well, I've got to say, I did prepare something, and I haven't gone for it, but it's an honor and a pleasure to see everybody here to celebrate our brother Dougie. And I forgot to say good evening to you, Carol. How do you do, Carol? So Dougie, a very, very inspirational person that was in our community. But one of the things before we go, and one of the questions, what are we prepared to do to continue the works of Dougie within ourselves? Even sometimes I question myself, I say, why, Dougie, we spoke about this, and I'm not doing it. But I reflect, and I said, you know what, if I'm doing something wrong, I hold myself accountable to everybody here. Anyway, my time is done, and I'm hoping and praying we are prepared to do the things today not to do. So I'm going to leave it there, All right.
That was amazing. Really thank you. Really enjoyed that. Okay, so we're going to have a video from Andrew Mohammed. Yeah, can you give us that?
If you put the mic next to the speaker. No, not a speaker. The one with the. Is it? Doesn't sound like. Oh, he's got it.
When I see the great I am so super delighted and amazed and proud of my community because you know what? We have legends amongst us and we just forget them. But what I love about Brother Dougie, and I'm telling you now, he'll be in tears in that he kept his name, his legacy, his mission alive. This is Brother Andrew Mohammed, the public investigator of White Property. You don't know every single time. Brothers and sisters, I'm based now in the motherland, but you know what? My love goes to Brother Jammers, and all the community that come together to put this on, those who see, all those who don't see. I'm telling you now, brothers and sisters, you have made us proud in the motherland. We live with you in the diaspora, and we absolutely unity across the board. Our Doug is a legend. I'm so happy when I see some great people lined up on the day. But Daka, you don't know, a legend. We have got Sister Paul, we got Hester, we got Galactic. Oh, come on, man. Jeez, you don't know. Brothers and sisters, I just want to give a shout out to the family, Brother Dudley. And Dudley is one person that didn't play his vision. He had a smile on his face, he had a pop in his step, but believe me, don't run when it comes to liberation theology. That was Dudley. It was about bringing us together in love, peace, unity, and wisdom. So, brothers and sisters, enjoy the day. Enjoy the day, man. With rice and peas in the buffalo soldier and dreadlock Rastafari. Yes! Let's up on Babylon. I don't know what I'm talking about. But it's an honor to be a part of this. Let's do it now. You stay strong, take care. Peace and love.
Right. Well, my name is Andrew Lee from the Community Legacy Group. I think what we're going to do is have a little. Are we going to cut the cake now? Are we going to cut the cake now? In 5 minutes. Okay. Well, we're just you can just 5 minutes. We're going to cut the cake that we have prepared. Yeah. So I'm Andrew from the Community Legacy Group, and I've been working with Dougie for many years. He put me on radio, on SLR radio, when I was running for an independent candidate in the area. Always give me enough encouragement to go forward and keep going forward and doing what I do. What I do is actually to represent people. I represent people within employment. So I'm a union man. So that's what I do. And also I run a theatre company with my brother, as you can see back over here. And we performed yesterday at the Arts Depot. It was a really great event, festival place. So if you want to do some acting and script writing and so forth, scan the QR code. All right, so we're going to have a few minutes. Can we just have some music for 5 minutes? And then we're going to cut the cake. I also want to acknowledge Carol here, Brother Dougie's sister. Okay, so I'll give her a round of applause for her. I know how hard it is because her mother was here the last time we was here. So I'll give his condolences to you and the family for that. All right, so just going to play some music for 5 minutes, and then we're going to cut the cake, and then we're going to have a half an hour break and then come back to some more presentations. All right, thank you.